Familia, thank you so much for being here with us. Today is one of those special days during the entire week that we're celebrating community health centers. Um, One of the core and most important things that we do is making sure that we are servicing our community and our familias and our patients. That's why today we are celebrating our patients, and we I have the pleasure, and I'm going to be inviting him in a couple of minutes. Someone that has been with us, and he started the journey as a patient and move forward to the point that he's part of and not going to spoil the surprise, and I will let him actually tell us what he's doing right now. But most importantly, a big thank you to all of you. Muchas gracias a cada uno de ustedes, porque sin ustedes no seríamos absolutamente nada, y nosotros es un placer servirlos cada día y estar juntos con ustedes para poder dar servicios y mejorar la calidad de salud de toda nuestra comunidad. Then, from our bottom of our hearts, from AltaMed, we want to thank you for actually being with us. There's a lot of struggles, and we are here completely to serve you, to give you absolutely everything that we have, and most importantly, to move forward and create wellness in our communities. And I'm bringing right now Mr. Joseph, a really good friend from the house. Mr. Joseph, how are you?
Good morning, doctor. I'm well. How about yourself?
It's a pleasure to see you. And I was giving a brief introduction right now, and I'm very, very interested because I have never heard this. How do you ended up? First of all, if you can, before you tell me the story, if you can tell me who you are and what's your connection with AltaMed.
Okay, my name is Joseph Gomez. I first stumbled onto AltaMed as a patient just over 13 years ago. My first connection with AltaMed was an iffy one, so I left like 2 weeks go by. I came back and I was welcomed with open arms. I felt like I was with a family, from the receptionist to the nurses to the doctors. They all made me feel like I'm home where I needed to be. That was just over 13 years ago, and it seems like it was only, yesterday sometimes.
That's very powerful with that part. And how how was it to go in and be part of a community clinic?
Well, initially I had no idea what to expect. So, as I mentioned, my first contact it was with one of the other clinics, and I think they were having a bad day. So then I went to the where I currently go, and I just felt like, wow, is this really existing? Um, uh, for example, my first contact, the receptionist, I'm not going to put names out there. She just came over. She gave me a hug. She said, "You're in a good place, hon." And to this day, she still calls me hon, and she still gives me that hug. The
Oh, that
nurses do the same thing,
that
and
that's human touch. That's actually the connection that we want to bring for sure.
yes, and as from our CEO, he's a hugger as well. So it just gives us the family unity right there, the family bond. Uh, Yourself, the doctor that you played in the series Sin Vergüenza, that's who you really are. I'm sorry, I had to throw it out there.
Oh my God, it has been a couple of years, but yes, I love that one. Mr. Joseph, and with everything that you have seen, and especially with the patient journey, what and how did COVID change the way that you saw health right now in the past 2 years?
Well, um, a lot of people have been very, very afraid to go out of their own homes for the past, during the 2 year period. And many times patients would say, "Well, you guys aren't even open. How can I go and see a doctor?" Well, we had telephone visits, we had video visits, we did have in-person visits for those who needed it. And so Ultimate kept on functioning. Even though people, the general public, didn't know anyone was functioning, we were. And I do get out, I do get in our community. I am telling people, hey, we are open. Even if you're scared to come into our clinic, we can still talk to you, video or phone, and keep our patients in touch with their providers.
That's actually a great summary of what we tried to do, because it got complicated. As you know, there was not a lot of telehealth before 2020. It was like a beautiful idea that maybe in 2025, 2026, but in a matter of weeks, actually, the major basis of it were covered, and we were there for the community. And I agree, and let me tell you something, Mr. Joseph, that one of the things that I love right now is in Mexico, I used to do home visits. And it's awesome because you see the family, you interact with everybody, you meet the like the pets and everybody. And right now that's when you can do it a couple of times a day, but it's very hard to actually help the entire community a lot of the times. But with telehealth, for the first time in a while, I'm actually able to actually be there with them. They open the door with a camera, and I'm seeing my patients interact with everybody else, and you get that sense of, even though that it's not the same. I agree with you. I prefer the contact, but at least we have something there. And a lot of the parents that I served, and they're at work or doing stuff, and when I actually have the visit with a kid outside of the school, or it helps, then I agree with you. It's something that it's a game changer.
It reminds me that you mentioned that of the old time. Us older people remember that doctors coming, knock, 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 you know, and coming to see the patient. Sometimes the patients, well, yes, I'm going to throw a name out right now. Dr. Bowie, his team is awesome. They're doing that when needed. So it gives us back that community, that sense of belonging again. That wow, we're with this group, and this doctor comes over and sees us. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a real positive addition.
And that's where the connections start actually to bring back. And you gave us kind of where you started with AltaMed, and your journey, your experience on COVID-19. But what are you doing right now with AltaMed?
Okay, for the last 4 years, I have been member of the board of directors with AltaMed, and that is something that's fantastic because it's allowed me to get out more with our community and let the community know that hey, I am a patient and I know what we need. I know what we should be getting, what kind of services, and if you, the patient, tell me, hey, how can I get in touch with someone to deal with my diabetes or with my hypertension or whatever, I'm able to put these people in our community in that connection. Um, I, I, I've always been associated with the board in one way or another. However, as I when I initially went to AltaMed, I was in really, really, really poor health. I ended up in the hospital for several weeks. I should have been dead by all means. And coming out of the hospital, I came back with AltaMed, and they took care of me. They just treated me like if I was their own family, and gave me the best care possible, and was always there on the telephone. Hey, are you doing okay today? Hey, do you want to come in? We got this going on, and let's get you back to where you were before. And so they never gave up on me. AltaMed never gave up on me, and I will not give up on AltaMed. And with everything that I've done throughout the years, I've been asked several times, hey, would you like to be a part of our board of directors? Initially, I was not ready. The second time I was asked, I was not ready. Third time, I was ready. So, and I'm here today, and yeah, I look like I'm 98. However, hey, I'm alive and I'm healthy, and having a conversation with this wonderful man here.
Oh, Mr. Joseph, it's and that's one of the important things that I think that to highlight from your path, that You have been involved with all the stages of AltaMed to the point that with your experience, and one of the important things about community clinics and especially federal qualified health centers is that the board is, a big chunk on the board. I think it's less than 40, it's 49%. It needs to be actually patients, people that we serve. And that, and having you, Mr. Joseph, there with all the experience, with everything that you have passed, the entirety of your experience, and most importantly, the stuff that you're doing on the community, being active, being there, being an advocate for actually taking care of our things. It's a real pleasure every time that I actually interact with you, and I was very happy to actually see you in person a couple of weeks back. Then I'm very happy that we're having this conversation. And right now we are finalizing the last minutes of this conversation. Would you like to share anything else with our community right now?
Well, also going back to the COVID issue, I think that our group has done a fantastic job with all the campaigns that were out there. Ándale, que esperas, tell you people going to the doors and informing people. And that's the kind of interaction we at AltaMed, not only at the board, also patients and also the employees, get out there and get involved with the community. Let them know we're out there, we're doing things. So it's not like, just something you would see at random. And, that was a banged up of a campaign. You all did fantastic with that.
I'm extremely happy that we had this conversation. And Familia, um, it's it's not just a pleasure, but an honor to continue serving all of us in AltaMed to patients in the community. Mr. Joseph's story, it's one of the 375,000 patients that we touch every year. Then it's a pleasure, it's an honor. We're here for you, and most importantly, the feedback loop. Making sure that we're pushing forward. That way, we can actually continue being, the provider of choice, and we give the way that we want to be treated. We give the languages that we want to be, talked to, and most importantly, we be present and have that human touch that you were describing with every interaction. Then, Mr. Joseph, don't go away. I'm going to go back with you in a couple of seconds, but let me say goodbye to everybody. Familia, please do send us your comments, your questions. We're completely here for you. If you need anything, if you need something to react, any conversations, remember that all these community clinics are created for the community. Community centers, fair qualified health centers, a big group of a lot of movements that are devoted to serve. And that's where we are here. Again, it has been a real pleasure to be with all of you and continue celebrating your day today. I'm Dr. Ilan Shapiro, the Chief Health Correspondent and Medical Affairs Officer for AltaMed, and this is your Conversaciones Vitales. Then have a beautiful day. Bye.